राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी, गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी, गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी, यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन, यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, जय राधा माधव कुंजा बिहारी, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे, जय राधा मुरलीधर राधे, जय गौरचंद्र जय गौरचंद्र जय गौरचंद्र जय गौरचंद्र, जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद, जय जय प्रभुपाद। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। So Hare Krishna everyone. We'll be reading through verses 4 to 6 from chapter 9 of Canto 10. So wait, I'll just share the screen. We'll just read them one by one. So I'll do the fourth one first. We'll discuss something about it. Then we'll go on the fifth, discuss, and then go on the sixth. So this is Canto 10, chapter 9, verse number 4. I'll just quickly read the verse and translation and purport. Tamstanya kama asadya mathantim jananam hari grihitva dadi mathanam nyadeshat pritim avahan. Translation. While Mother Yashoda was churning butter, Lord Krishna, desiring to drink the milk of her breast, appeared before her, and in order to increase her transcendental pleasure, he caught hold of her churning rod and began to prevent her from churning. Purport. Krishna was sleeping within the room, and as soon as he got up, he became hungry and went to his mother, wanting to stop her from churning and drink the milk of her breast. He stopped her from moving the churning rod. Okay, so I'll just stop the screen share. So let's just do quickly with the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Gyantimirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubheva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So I seek the blessings of all the assembled devotees here, especially Adi Purush Prabhu, Arjuna Prabhu. I'm sure he must be there somewhere at Bhakti Center, and all the devotees who very dedicatedly attend Bhagavatam classes regularly and shower their blessings on the speakers. So we are reading now about the Damodar Leela, where the absolute truth comes as Devi Krishna to perform pastimes at Gokul to conquer the hearts of his devotees. And by this, he gives us all living beings an opportunity to experience his sweetness. In spirituality, God reveals himself as the creator, maintainer and destroyer of everything. He's the one who gives all the laws, and then he gives all the rewards and remunerations, all the punishments to everyone. And we see that God seems to have a lot of power and strength. He does have a lot of power and strength. And we see people of many religions, they actually obey God more out of fear. But gradually, as their senses get purified, they spontaneously start loving God. It's more out of love for God than fear of God. And we see that Krishna's greatest power is actually his love, his sweetness, and his Bhakta Vatsalya nature, or his love for his devotees. And we see that clearly in this Leela, this Damodar Leela that we're going to discuss now. In this verse, we see that Mother Yashoda, she's very happy. And she's always thinking of Krishna. We see in the previous verses that she herself is churning the butter right now because she doesn't want Krishna to go and steal butter from the houses of their neighbors. And she's always thinking of the pastimes of Krishna by writing them in the form of a poetry, and she's singing them continuously while churning the butter. So through her example, she's actually telling us how we can constantly meditate on Krishna. But we see that this day is a little bit unusual. Krishna is usually woken up by Yashoda Maya, but she doesn't do that today because she's busy churning butter, which mostly her servants, they do it. But this time she's doing it herself. So she hasn't yet come to wake up Krishna. And and because of this, Krishna is angry because because if for those of you all who may have children, at least I've seen it my sister doing with her nieces, that whenever a mother wakes up her child, it's not that the child will just get up and wash the face and just start meditating or just doing household work. No, it's not like that. A child gets up and then they stretch a little bit, and then they act all coy and shy, and there's a lot of like drama that happens over there. And Krishna likes doing all that with his mother. But his mother didn't come today. So he didn't get a chance of doing all this cutesy stuff, with his mother today. So he's very angry. From the time he's gotten up, he's like, where's my mother? He's a little bit like Sanjata Kopa. It's gonna come in the it's gonna come in the verse number 6. He's Kopa, he's angry since morning. And also the thing is that whenever Mother Yashoda comes, the first thing she does is she gives him her milk. But she didn't come. So he didn't get any milk. So, he just went to sleep again, the acharyas say. And after some time, he again opens his eyes, and he sees again his mother is not there. So he decides, okay, it's about time I go out and see what's going on. So he goes outside and he goes to his mother. So, there is this angry little sweet little boy, plus he's a bit sleepy, he's coming with a little bit of a messy hair. And he goes straight to his mother, and he stops his Mother Yashoda from churning the rod. And the Acharya say that why did Krishna go to Yashoda? Yes, it is to have her milk, to get all her motherly love. But another reason is also that so that he goes to Yashoda so that she could give her best. So so basically there are two things here. Parents love to see their children, they get intelligent. It makes them very proud. That increases their affection for them. But in this case, he also wants to show not only his intelligence to her, that yes, see, I'm so intelligent, I'm going to come here and stop you from doing your work and tell you that yes, I want your milk right now. But at the same time, another reason that why he's come to Mother Yashoda is that is that he wants to give her the opportunity to give what she can give her best, to show her talent, in which she herself alone is an expert. You see, in this way, Krishna wants to increase the transcendental pleasure of all of his devotees, not just the Vrajvasis like Yashoda Maya or Nanda Baba, but even like normal insignificant Jiva Atmas like me, who are rotting around in this Kalyug, whose heart is so dirty. Even for us, he cares for us, for people like me, so much that he's giving all of us a unique opportunity. For each of us, it's a unique opportunity to showcase our talent, to give what is our best to Krishna. For Mother Yashoda, it was her milk, because she's his mother. So for the pleasure of everyone, Krishna increases our pleasure first by performing various clever acts, wonderful acts, amazing acts. We think of how wonderful is Krishna. So he performs wonderful acts, by actually putting a whole huge tree in a small little seed. It's a wonderful thing. It's wonderful how our body is working even without us being conscious about it. How we get up every morning. We're literally dead in the night. We could be dead by all means, but we get up every morning. By how medicines work, by how is it that the planets are all in their position. By performing all these incredible, intelligent, marvelous acts, he increases our pleasures. And the second thing is that Krishna, he increases our pleasure by accepting from all of us our best talent, what is unique in us, in which we are an expert. Because that's a special, unique gift from us to him, for him, Actually, Krishna is everything. He's self-sufficient. He doesn't need anything from us. But just in order to increase our love for him, he is giving us an opportunity to serve him and thereby increasing our pleasure. And how can we increase Krishna's pleasure? In exactly the same way, by using our intelligence to sometimes surprise Krishna, that, I could have done something un-Krishna conscious, not Krishna conscious, but I'm using it in Krishna's service. So we're using our intelligence, our talent for Krishna, and that pleases him. So this is the way in which a very sweet reciprocation takes place between Krishna and his devotees, and particularly here through Krishna and between Krishna and Mother Yashoda. So we'll go now to the next verse. I'll just share the screen for that. Verse number 5. Okay. Tam ankam arudham apayayastanam snehasnutam sasmitam ikshati mukham atraptam utrajya javena sa yayav utsijamane payasi tav adrishyate. Translation: Mother Yashoda then embraced Krishna, allowed him to sit on her lap, and began to look upon the face of the Lord with great love and affection. Because of her intense affection, milk was flowing from her breast. But when she saw that the milk pan on the oven was boiling over, she immediately left her son to take care of the overflowing milk, although the child was not yet fully satisfied with drinking the milk of his mother's breast. Purport: everything in the household affairs of Mother Yashoda was meant for Krishna. Although Krishna was drinking the breast milk of Mother Yashoda, when she saw the milk pan in the kitchen was overflowing, she had to take care of it immediately, and thus she left her son, who then became very angry, not having been fully satisfied with drinking the milk of her breast. Sometimes one must take care of more than one item of important business for the same purpose. Therefore, Mother Yashoda was not unjust when she left her son to take care of the overflowing milk. On the platform of love and affection, it is the duty of the devotee to do one thing first and the other things later. The proper intuition by which to do this is given by Krishna. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Bhagavad Gita 10.10. In Krishna consciousness, everything is dynamic. Krishna guides the devotees in what to do first and what to do next on the platform of absolute truth. So, yeah, this is another, we'll be discussing a little bit more on this verse because it has some very good, nice, important points given by Acharyas. So we see that Krishna climbs on Mother Yashoda's lap and he starts drinking her milk. And yet they both are enjoying this very sweet relationship with each other. She's looking at his face, and her ecstasy is increasing, by the second. And because of that ecstasy, her milk is becoming more and more sweeter, because her love is taking the form of that ecstatic milk. So milk is getting even sweeter as she is looking upon him. Ye yatha mam prapadyante. Krishna reciprocates by how much he's by the way how we approach him. So when she's looking with him with so much of love, he is increasing his beauty. And because his beauty is increasing, the milk in her milk is getting actually even more and more sweeter. So in this material world, what we get tired of looking, at each other for a very long time. Even lovers, they need some change now and then. So that's why people dress up in new clothes, or or they do a different hairdo sometimes, or they put on some different jewelry, or they do a different makeup or something or the other. They try to do something different every time to give some new pleasures to their beloved. But in the spiritual world, this beauty of Krishna as it is very beautiful, and it's increasing infinitely for eternity, and that's inconceivable. And that's why he's the absolute truth. Krishna is actually the summit of all beauty. He's completely whole, Purnamida Purnamidam. Nothing is out of him, and yet that beauty within him, which is the source of all beauty, the beauty in this material world is just a very insignificant fragment of his ever increasing beauty. This beauty is ever increasing for all of eternity. And that is why her love is increasing. And therefore his beauty is increasing, and the milk is getting even more and more sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. But suddenly the milk which Mother Yashoda had put on the pan for heating, that's boiling over. And so she puts Krishna down immediately, because it's an emergency situation. And she runs instinctively. Why? Because that milk is actually to be used for Krishna later during that day. It was a very special milk, Pushpagandha milk, by the best and the most special cow of Yashoda Maya and Nand Maharaj. So Yashoda Maya, in the previous verses, we see that it's written that she would give the best of the best grass, which would be milked by the 8 best cows from the 900,000 cows that they had. And that one cow would eat this best grass, and the milk of that cow was so amazing. It had the fragrance of lotus flowers. It was amazing, delicious milk. And with that milk, she was planning to make sandesh and barfi and kheer for Krishna. And Krishna was absolutely going to love it. But we see here that Krishna is actually getting angry with Mother Yashoda. Krishna is mostly angry on the demons, but here he's angry on Mother Yashoda. And why is that so? And also, why did Mother Yashoda have to leave Krishna? She's doing everything for Krishna. Anyone can ask this question. She's doing everything for Krishna. And Krishna's there right on her lap, and yet she's leaving the object of her affection, Krishna, on the side, and she's going to save milk. So what is this? So it seems logical that Krishna will be angry. So how do we explain this mood of Mother Yashoda? This is very nicely explained by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur when he's commenting on this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. And when he's commenting on this, he uses Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu's verse Anya Bhilashita Shunyam. So the verse goes, Anya Bhilashita Shunyam Dhyana Karma Ranavritam Anukulyena Krishnanu Shilanam Bhakti Uttama. Bhakti, the word bhakti is to be used only for Krishna alone. And Anushilanam. Anushilanam means, the word Shilana means work for Krishna. And Anushilanam, as per Rupa Goswami, means that all work that we do is supposed to be for Krishna alone. So Kriya is important. We need to use our senses, everything for Krishna alone. But then 2 examples are given here by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. This is he's done a comparison between Kamsa and Mother Yashoda. We see, if it comes for remembering, Kamsa was also remembering Krishna the whole day, the whole night. Okay, and he even pleases Krishna actually by fighting with him. Okay, but is it pure bhakti that he's doing? No, because it was not Anukul. He was doing Anushilanam. His work was for Krishna, but it was not Anukul to Krishna. And that's why the word Anukul is important here. It may seem obvious that, okay, whatever we do for Krishna, it will be for his pleasure. No, but that's not always how it happens. Sometimes we also, as devotees, we do many things saying that yes, it's for Krishna, but actually It may be for our pleasure, it may not be for Krishna's pleasure. Like Kamsa, he served Krishna by fighting with Krishna, by thinking of Krishna the whole time. But his intention was not to please Krishna alone. That just happened as a byproduct because Krishna is very merciful that he accepts everything. And therefore, Jeev Goswami says that in that all these circumstances, it can't be the same. All work has to be for Krishna's pleasure. And that is alone bhakti. It's not that you work for Krishna. That work also has to give pleasure to Krishna. Then it is anukulyena anushilanam bhakti. Okay, so that is why Mother Yashoda, when she's running to save that milk, leaving Krishna alone, she is doing it with an intention for Krishna's pleasure. So the intention is important here. And that is why she's a pure devotee. Her intention was to please Krishna, and Kamsa's intention was to destroy Krishna. And that is why Mother Yashoda is a pure devotee. And obviously, we also, some of you might have heard also the reason, you know, why she's actually running to save the milk. Yes, one is so that that milk will be used to give strength, nourishment to Krishna. But another deep reason is also that that milk is also living. The milk is a living entity because in the spiritual world, everything is living. And when that milk was in the, you know, he is in the pan, the milk is in the pan, and he's thinking that, oh, Krishna is drinking all the milk of Mother Yashoda, and therefore he will not need me. And if he doesn't need me, then what is the use of my existence? It's better that I die. So the milk is literally boiling over from the pot to enter the fire underneath the pot so as to kill himself. And Mother Yashoda realizes that, yes, this milk is also a devotee. I have to save this devotee so that this devotee can also serve Krishna. So she's actually facilitating another devotee to serve Krishna. This is what a pure devotee does. You know, they live to help others serve Krishna. They themselves serve Krishna and help others serve Krishna. So just look at the elevated consciousness of Mother Yashoda. She's okay to keep Krishna aside for a few minutes, for a few moments, just so that she can take care of a devotee. And that devotee can actually then serve Krishna. So much of devotee care. Great example of devotee care given by Mother Yashoda herself. Such an exalted devotee. Krishna's mother herself teaching us how to serve Krishna. So coming back to the commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, we see that the intention is important. And obviously that also doesn't mean that, you know, we make up anything and say, oh, yes, you know, like, okay, I'm going to now offer this intoxication to Krishna now. And I'm sure it's going to please him because he accepts everything. No, pleasing and following the previous acharyas is real anukulyena. And we need the association of pure devotees to have and understand this real and good intention, this mood to serve. In Shuddha Bhakti, Krishna's happiness is the main goal. The problem is when we start thinking of our own happiness alone. And the only solution to that is when we start thinking of Krishna's happiness alone. And when we think of Krishna's happiness, yes, it also means happiness of Krishna's devotees. And that is why we see non-devotees and Mayavadis, they never please Krishna because they're only thinking about themselves. They're thinking about their salvation, their pleasure, their I, me, my, not about Krishna, not about him, the Supreme Lord. So yes, so this is a very important understanding given to us by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur on the mood of Mother Yashoda and how she's actually pleasing Krishna, even though Krishna is becoming angry with her. Another important point that is made by Srila Prabhupada in this verse in the purport is he's talking about prioritizing. So you see that Mother Yashoda is looking at her son, and you know there's a very sweet exchange happening between Mother Yashoda and Krishna. But she stops this just to save the milk. She didn't even give any explanation because the priority at that time was to immediately save the milk. And even we need to understand how to prioritize some, you know, like a lot of things in our life because we are limited in terms of time and energy. And priorities is not just in terms of time and energy, it's in terms of quality also. We need to give our best possible self when we're serving Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada tells us how in the purport, he's telling us that how do we know what we are supposed to prioritize first and what we're supposed to prioritize later? What do we give our energy and time to first? He simply says that, yes, Krishna will tell you. Now, I'm very sure Krishna has told Srila Prabhupada many things because Srila Prabhupada is a very pure devotee of Krishna. Unfortunately, I'm not so pure that I can't hear Krishna, but Krishna speaks to us through Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So they will help us decide what we need to prioritize first. And so that is why it's important to consult authority. It's actually a combination of Krishna's guidance from within. Sometimes, yes, Krishna also guides you from within. Instinctively, we know, okay, this is the thing we need to give importance to first and other things later. So just one or two things I would like to share on, prioritizing, which some general principles on it, which Srila Prabhupada has told in all his lectures, which our acharyas tell us through their teachings. And first is that we have to give priority to our health. Health comes first, then we'll be able to do our sadhana properly. So health is very important. And then comes our sadhana of chanting 16 rounds, 3 Gayatris, reading Srila Prabhupada's books. This is what we need to do first. Put Krishna first, then other things will fall in place. And then we are supposed to do our preaching. We have to then put group sadhana then, devotee care, reaching out to other devotees, preaching to them. And then finally comes all the management and projects and everything. People come first and then the projects come. Because if you have the right people, even if you don't have enough money, that's okay. If the right people can ensure that even the most difficult projects can be accomplished successfully. So even in the hierarchy of prioritizing, we have to save ourselves first, no doubt. And then we have to save others. And even when we're saving others, we have to save their Krishna conscious life first, and then see how we can involve them in, in their projects, or whatever other services we can help them in. And we can judge this. How do we know whether our prioritizing is going in the right direction or not? By the fruits of a tree, how the fruits of a tree tell us if the tree is healthy. So if we see that the devotees are happy, they feel more satisfied, they're more peaceful, they are getting more knowledge, they're losing their material attachments, they're getting more and more closer to Krishna, then we can understand that our prioritizing went well. And this is especially for people who are at a managerial level. This is especially important for them. But I just thought I'll just share this because this is a very important point mentioned by Srila Prabhupada in the purport, and it's relevant. It's always going to be relevant. So now going on to our last verse. In fact, all of these verses today are so important. Like they all deserve one class completely on their own. I'm just literally just touching on them, very briefly in one sense. So we'll just go on to the last verse for today. 10.9.6. Sanjata kopa spuritarunaadharam sandasya dadbir dadimantha bhajanam bhitva mishashrur drishad ashmanaraho jaghasa hayangavam antaram gataha. Translation: being very angry and biting his reddish lips with his teeth, Krishna, with false tears in his eyes, broke the container of yogurt with a piece of stone. Then he entered a room and began to eat the freshly churned butter in a solitary place. Purport: it is natural that when a child becomes angry, he can begin crying with false tears in his eyes. So Krishna did this, and biting his reddish lips with his teeth, he broke the pot with a stone, entered a room, and began to eat the freshly churned butter. So, very, very naughty now Krishna is becoming, because Mother Yashoda went to save the milk, and so Krishna has now got very angry. And it's not actually like real anger. He's actually doing this in the real sense. He's doing everything just to increase Mother Yashoda's pleasure. But we see how he's showing his anger here. He's biting his beautiful reddish lips with his sweet newly formed teeth, and then he starts crying. And he's, as I said here, it's false tears. How could the absolute truth have anything false in him? Because Krishna is Purnam. Within that absolute truth, that absolute trueness, also there has to be the absolute falseness. For anything to be complete, there has to be, if there is only yes and there is no, then that's not complete. Yes and no together make anything complete. So we have true and false. They both make Krishna complete. And that is why within the truth, there is also false. So he's giving out false tears here. That's how he's indicating that everything is in him. And this is also increasing the love between him and Mother Yashoda. And what does he do? He picks up a stone and he breaks that pot of yogurt. And then he runs to another room. And then he takes and I know this is not all part of today's verse and discussion, but I just want to briefly just mention one or two sentences on this, that he takes a grinding mortar and he climbs on it, and he takes the freshly churned butter which is kept from a pot which is hanging from ropes from the ceiling, and it was kept up there high so that they could be kept safe from the monkeys and from Krishna. But still, he gets it and he eats it, and he's calling the monkeys and he's feeding them with his own hands. Many years ago, I had heard a lecture by this lecture on Damodar Leela by His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, and it was so beautiful, in that he was describing how fortunate the monkeys of Vrindavan are. This butter was churned by Mother Yashoda, and Krishna himself is eating it, and now with that same hand he's feeding the monkeys. It's directly from Krishna's mouth. When Mother Yashoda is milking the cows, all she's doing is she's thinking of Krishna. All her activities are for Krishna. When she's churning that milk to make it into yogurt and that yogurt into butter, she's literally crying tears of ecstasy when she's thinking of Krishna. That's how deep her love for Krishna is. And that love Krishna is tasting by eating all this butter. And that same butter, that same Mahaprasad, Krishna is giving with his own hands to those monkeys with so much of love and compassion. And those monkeys must have been so totally intoxicated. And that's why till today, the monkeys of Vrindavan are so naughty, because they've been fed by Krishna himself directly. And they still have all that energy, that love of Krishna still in them so much. That's why even today, the monkeys, they will take away everything from you when you walk on the streets of Vrindavan. So, yeah. There's a sweetness of this whole pastime. So we see in this verse that Krishna is getting angry at Mother Yashoda, but Krishna rarely gets angry at the young gopis. And in fact, they mostly get angry at him, because Krishna, he is maybe with another gopi, or he is he comes late to the rendezvous point where he's supposed to meet Radharani. And once in a blue moon, Krishna may get angry, and that too very slightly. But with his mother, in this Vatsalya Bhav, a child he's very free with his mother. Any child is very free with their mother. That's why he gets angry with his mother. Small children, Prabhupada also mentioned, small children, they get angry more easily. And that they kind of like made me think that yes, Krishna is acting exactly like an ordinary child, so that we can relate to him. And how do we respond to anger? Another question is, how do we respond to anger? How do we get angry? Why do we get angry in the first place? We get angry because most of the times our expectations are not met. Dhyayato vishyan pumsa sangaste sopajayate sangat sanjayate kama kamat krodho vijayate. We contemplate the object of our senses and we develop attachment for them. And from that attachment, lust develops. And when that lust is not fulfilled, we get angry then. And what do we do when we get angry? There are two things: fight or flight. We fight with the other person, so that we feel that yes, I fought now with this person who's made me angry, and and then we get a sense of feeling that yes, now justice has been done. Now we get it's a fair justice that has happened now. Or the other thing we do is we flight, we run away from there, we withdraw from the scene totally when we get angry. It's mostly a mixture of the above, and even Krishna does this. He's angry at Mother Yashoda. So he fights first. He's angry. Mother Yashoda has left me alone. Now I'm going to undo her work. So he breaks Mother Yashoda's that pot with which she was that pot in which she was churning all that butter for him. And then he flies. He goes away. He runs away. He flies away. He runs away in the other room. And he does this only with Mother Yashoda. So sweet. And when we look at these pastimes, we see that impersonalists, when they see all these pastimes, they say that how can this be God? How can this Krishna be God? How can Krishna get angry? How can your God be angry? God is supposed to not have all of these lower attachments, Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita that we have to give up lust, anger, greed. We have to give up attachments due to fear. And Mayavadis say that yes, Krishna himself is saying in Bhagavad Gita, we have to be equipoised at all times through happiness, distress, fame, infamy, whatever, good weather, bad weather, whatever it may be. But now Krishna is doing completely something else. How can your Krishna say, he's directly saying he's hungry, patram pushpam phalam toyam. He's saying he wants all of these things. So how is it that this Krishna is actually, how can your Krishna be God? And we see in many religions of the world, this is how they perceive God. They don't have any pastimes of God. And that's why, honestly, from a very, very personal opinion, it's a bit boring sometimes, because we as Jivatmas, we want variety and taste to lead a happy life. And because impersonalists deny the personality of Godhead, they are themselves depriving themselves of the happiness and infinite bliss that they can get by hearing and chanting these glories of Krishna, these wonderful pastimes of Krishna. Yes, Krishna is the creator of Brahma, of all the Prajapatis, and yet he wants to be the son of Mother Yashoda. Why? Because as I mentioned earlier, Purnamada Purnamidam, he is complete when he is not just the father of everyone, when he is also the child of someone. Real completeness comes when you're not just the master, but you also want to be the servant of someone. And that is why he's the controller of all the three worlds, and yet he dances to the clapping of the gopis so that he can get some little sweetmeats from them. Brahma and Shiva, they're concentrating fully on him. They want to become mountains in Vrindavan. And yet Krishna wants to get the dust of these his devotees. This is Achintya Bheda Bhed. He's simultaneously Sarveshwara, the controller of everything, and yet he is subordinate to his devotees. And regarding the anger, Krishna and his devotees, they get angry only to please devotees and Krishna respectively. Because devotees love Krishna and Krishna loves the devotees. So if we ever get angry at someone, we have to try to remember these pastimes of Krishna and see how we can dovetail our anger to the service of Krishna, like how Hanumanji dovetailed his anger by burning Lanka, because Ravan had dared to kidnap Mother Sita. And then at least we can be angry, at those who blaspheme the devotees of Krishna, those who blaspheme Krishna, the cow slaughterers. Or we can also dovetail our own anger by remembering how Radharani goes into Man Leela. We're going to celebrate Radhashtami in 1 week's time, exactly 1 week from now. So we should start meditating on these beautiful qualities and pastimes that Sri Radha has had with Krishna, so that we can welcome her. And one of her most important leelas is the Man Leela, her getting angry with Krishna. So just by thinking of these pastimes of Krishna, of Srimati Radharani, we can dovetail all of this anger in Krishna's service. All glories to Srimati Radharani and Shri Krishna. So I'll conclude now in just a minute. We see that these pastimes, this pastime of Damodar Leela has been told so many times by devotees since time immemorial. One name of Krishna is Hari. Hari means the one who steals. Harlena. Harlena means the one who steals. So in the material realm, Krishna steals all our material attachments, but he steals away time. He steals away our duration of life, everything that we have. But Krishna also wants to steal our heart when it becomes soft and sweet like freshly churned butter. And that's what we're supposed to do by accepting things favorable to Krishna consciousness and rejecting things which are unfavorable to our Krishna consciousness. And that's when our heart will be soft enough so that Krishna will want to steal it. So I'm praying to Srila Prabhupada that he may guide us, praying to Srimati Radharani that she may guide us on this path so that our heart can become soft like butter, so that Krishna can one day steal it and make our heart his forever. So thank you very much. I'll keep it now open for questions in case anyone has.
Yeah, thank you, Nirvika. I have a quick question.
Yes.
While everybody else is preparing to ask their question. Intelligent, burning, and pertinent. This is a service to Srimad Bhagavatam, please. So here's my question. How does Krishna feel when we turn away from him? Does he get depressed? Does he get upset or angry or just indifferent when we screw up and turn away from him? How does Krishna feel?
So Krishna has all feelings. He is Purnamada Purnamidam, as I mentioned. All the feelings that we experience are actually coming from Krishna. He's the origin of all feelings. So how would you feel if someone turned away from you? Someone who you really, really love, who you have nourished with all your care, attention. How will you feel? You'll feel depressed. You'll feel sad. So we are feeling sad means Krishna is feeling sad, because all our feelings of sad, happiness, whatever, they come from Krishna. So yes, Krishna is a person. He feels sad. And yet at the same time, since he's so complete, this depression doesn't overcome him. And he still continues being with us, because one of his nature is Bhakta Vatsal. He's merciful to his devotees. And we all are his devotees, whether we realize it or we don't realize it. We have forgotten it, but some of us are trying to remember that. So he's still there with us. So no doubt he feels very sad. Even especially what makes him the most sad is when we turn away from him by blaspheming his devotees. That's something that's very painful for him. If we blaspheme him, he's still going to be okay with it. But to his devotees, no. And only for the time being, because he's so full of love and compassion, only for the time being, he has to make himself indifferent to us for some time. And because only once he becomes indifferent to us, if we have made that mistake of blaspheming any devotee of Krishna, we realize how incomplete we are without Krishna, and then we will approach that devotee who we had blasphemed, seek his forgiveness, and then Krishna will come back again fully in our lives. So yes, who will experience all this apart from a person? And who apart from this most supreme person can feel this to a largest extent? So yes, Krishna feels everything. He feels sad. He does feel sad. But he's also there with us because, yeah, he's very merciful.
Yeah, we may turn away, but Krishna is always with us. Great.
Yes.
Beautiful. Who's next? Oh, two hands. Bhakti Devi
Yes.
and Krishna Dai. Krishna Dai is a gentleman. He's going to let Bhakti Devi's phone speak.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for a beautiful class. I love these pastimes of baby Krishna because it just brings me back to my own motherhood. And in this case, it's just like two divine beings having a very human experience of being cranky and then having a classic temper tantrum. So it's just so sweet. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, Krishna does all these pastimes purely just to attract our love towards him. Our love which is there within us, but somehow it's just gone so deep within that, it's not able to come out. It's something within us, but it has to come out. That's why Krishna performs all these pastimes. Yes, Krishna there. Okay, he's put his hand down. Is he? Did you have a question, Krishna there, Prabhu?
Yeah. So, oh no, I'm okay. But Bhakta will Prabhu.
Yes, Will Prabhu.
Okay, so just a quick question. Fear. There was a question about anger and fear, but you answered anger. Fear. I was taught that it's okay to have a healthy fear of God. When I was younger, in Hebrew scriptures, it was written in Ecclesiastes, I think it was chapter 12, where it says, "Fear God, and keep all His commandments." So, how do we explain fear? Like, is that having a healthy fear?
Like all other emotions, fear is also an emotion which has come from Krishna. So we are going to have fear. Primarily, we left Krishna because we were envious of him. And that is why we have come in this fearful place, this material world. So we should feel fear. We should feel fear of this material world. And because we understand the emotion of fear so well, that is why Krishna or God, the first thing how he comes in our life is through fear. Because that's the emotion we understand most intimately, fear, because we are fearful of everything. We're fearful of death, we're fearful of losing anything, losing our loved ones. So it's an emotion we can understand. And that is why this emotion has been used by Krishna to capture the minds of people who are at a very low level of consciousness, who are not able to directly understand the sweetness of Krishna. So he communicates through them through the medium of fear initially. If you don't obey my command, so and so bad thing is going to happen to you. You're going to go to hell. You're going to, this is going to happen to you. That is going to happen to you. Because that's the only way some people are going to understand. Because that's just at that level, that's all that they can understand. But with time, obeying those commands, with time, with every passing lifetime, our senses are getting purified. And when we see that we have reached a level where we will be able to understand, where Krishna feels that we'll be able to understand his more other deeper personal aspects, more personal qualities, like as his quality as a friend, as a mentor, as a guide, not as a control, not as as a harsh controller, but as a sweet mentor, as a sweet guide, as a friend, then he will send a pure devotee in our life to make us understand that. Like how he sent Srila Prabhupada, how he sent the previous acharyas also, who have also explained this sweet aspects of Krishna. So yes, initially it's important to have a fear of God, because maybe at that level, that's all that you can understand, or at that level, anyone can understand. That's why you see, even till date, a lot of the religions of the world, it is more fear-based. It's only once you start entering into the more deeper realms of God's personal life, like how his life in Vrindavan is, or how his life or even as Sri Ram is. Like it's not just Krishna. Even Sri Ram is a very merciful form of God. So it's a merciful incarnation of God. It's only when we understand this that we can get more, that we can understand his more sweeter aspects. But till then, that fear has to be there. And one of the most biggest fears that we as devotees should always carry, no matter whatever level we may be, even if we ever become Paramahamsa, the fear we should always carry in our hearts is the fear of forgetting Krishna. That fear we should never let go of.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mataji.
Thank you. That was a very nice question. Yes. Anyone else has any questions?
Just one quick question, Mataji. Yes. So when that momentarily Lord is indifferent to us, what is the hope?
The only hope is the pure devotee. At any point of time, devotees are the only hope, actually. And this indifference of Krishna comes only because we have not been good to a devotee. So the only hope is the devotee. At any point of time, it will always be the devotee. Because Krishna, while we are in this, whether we are in this material world or in the spiritual world, see, the milk was in the spiritual world. While these pastimes are happening in the material world, they're also happening in the spiritual world. The milk felt in the pan, felt that, oh, what am I going to do now? Like Krishna doesn't seem to need me. And who came to the milk's rescue? Another devotee, Mother Yashoda. So even in the spiritual world, devotees are going to depend on other devotees. So all the more we require their help in this material world. So it's always going to be the situation. The only and only hope are the devotees of Krishna and Krishna's holy name. Because only they can take us out of any problem. Take us out of this, appeal our case in front of Krishna so that he can be less indifferent, be more personal again. And obviously he will, Krishna will, he's merciful. He wants to be personal with us. Somehow we are not able to be personal with him many times, but he always wants to be personal with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, that's so scary. If you offend a devotee, then Krishna will become indifferent. Wow. That's intense.
He does. I mean, it depends on the level, the severity of the Vaishnava aparadh we have done. And no doubt it depends. But yeah, again, the devotee is the only one who can come and rescue us. That's what Krishna demands.
I don't know why Krishna Daya Prabhu asked that question. He's so serene. No, Krishna loves Krishna Daya. You shouldn't be concerned about that. One more question, dear devotees. One more. temple room is gone, so we can go over time.
Yeah, and even I'm not at Bhakti Center today. Yes, anyone else has any more questions?
Bhima Prabhu, I'm calling you out. He's probably riding a horse. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nirvika. That was a wonderful, sweet class.
Thank you.
It's almost impossible not to be sweet in these pastimes. I think that your repetition that Krishna is Pranam, that he contains all these ras, and that we should, and this is a great remembrance of how we can always remember Krishna, in that in any type of situation, we can remember that Krishna himself displays pastimes in situations, whether they be fear or anger or naughtiness, that throughout our day in dealing with the world, I might break up, I'm driving right now. Throughout our day, we can always remember when we're dealing with situations that Krishna has displayed his pastimes. And Smaranam, remembrance of Krishna, is what it's all about. It's how we become endeared to Krishna. So thank you once again for reminding us to always remember Krishna, because Krishna is the complete whole, and that he is wholly involved in our lives, and that we can remember him always by the remembrance of his Leelas. So Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you so much, Bhima Prabhu. Yes, always forget Krishna, never forget Krishna. That's the essence of all knowledge. We just understand that, we understand everything.
Jai.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Shrimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai,
Jai.
Nirvika Devi ki jai,
all
everybody
the
on this
devotees.
call ki jai, humanity at large, given their attention to Shrimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Have a
Jai.
wonderful day. It's Saturday. Remember, health goes first, then management. Angelika or Ganesh, our local Ganesh.
Yes, thank you, Angelica. She's been writing all these points. I just saw that now. She's been writing all these whatever I've
Is there any way to
written.
save those notes that she writes? I mean, they're here today and they're gone. Is there? Can we save?
It's on the YouTube in the comments
The
section.
notes are up on YouTube?
Yeah, she puts them up as a comment.
Oh, that's wonderful. Great. Hare Krishna.
Angelika, you're excellent in your service. Angelika Devi ki jai, Ganesh ki jai. Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare
Love you all.
Krishna.
Hare Bol. Have a
Hare
wonderful
Bol.
day.
Thank you so
Nirvika,
much.
thank you.